Okay, friends, it's 7. So let's start without much ado. See so many of you on time, so I don't want to delay. So is the screen visible?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm temporarily say muting all of you. I'll unmute just after the session so that there is no disturbance in between. This is going to be a 45 to 60-minute presentation, so kindly pay attention. So this was supposed to happen yesterday, but I had some last minute urgency, so I had to postpone this session. The result, I'll be taking two sessions today. One was already scheduled for today for finance, that has got say delayed by 2 hours, and this is taking place today. So this is the year of pandemic, the coronavirus, COVID-19. We all know. Uh, there have been widespread effects of it in every sphere of every individual's life all over the world. Rarely does a disease or rarely does a happening or any event come which affects everyone in the world at the same time. It has been, say, long. The last such event exactly was a centenary ago, or say approximately 100 years ago, when Spanish flu was there in 1920 or around that time. So, uh, this is the reason there are many effects or changes happening all around us. Though our way of working has changed, so we always need to be in sync with the changing time. There are a few lessons which we need to imbibe. So let's begin. So all my presentations always begin with thanking the Lord Almighty, who's given me much more than what I deserve. So this is my brief biodata. All of you are aware of it, since most of you are in my groups as well. So this is session number 17 of 2020. The free sessions I have taken as a part of testing protocols in the lockdown period I started. The last session I took was October 5 because of a few health issues and other, uh, responsibilities around me. I could not take a session in the interim. But yes, as the year draws close, this is the perfect moment to give you a lesson on what lessons do we take from the epidemic or the pandemic. So we all said on 31st December 2019, Happy New Year 2020. We begin the new decade. Officially, the new decade begins on 2021, but even the millennium was supposed to begin by 2000. So we said Happy New Year 2020. We said it is going to be the best of the year so far. Unfortunately, not even the first quarter passed, and we all saw that it started becoming worse, and later it became worse. Earlier, there were less cases, but more fear. And later on, as the time passed away, there was more fear, less fear, but more cases. Many countries had a lot of problems. India too had its share of difficulties. But yes, when the uh, say disease was at its peak, Indians were roaming around everywhere. There was no option because we didn't have any, say, backup plan, financially speaking or otherwise speaking. Because the basic reason behind everything we do in life to earn is finance only. Of course, I'll be taking the finance lessons in 2 hours from now at 9 p.m. What are the takeaways? I gave you a few takeaways in the theoretical form, but this is going to be slightly different. But yes, speaking from the clinic point of view, this is actually the thing we have to imbibe today. And we didn't even imagine or anticipate that it could be so worse, that the life would really come to a standstill. Nobody actually gave a thought. इवन अगर किसी के मजाक में भी बात हो जाती थी ना, वो कहते थे ऐसे हो सकता है, दुनिया रुक सकती है, कभी हो नहीं सकता. But that actually happened, and we are lucky to have witnessed it. It's not always say bad for something to say watch a low phase in life, because that is the reason we can only, or say that is when we can appreciate the good phases better. So 2020 is the year of pandemic, of course, beginning as early as November or maybe the mid of December. It was fully known to the world that China had in the say in the city of Wuhan, the epidemic or the say endemic at that stage had broken out, epidemic, and then it became pandemic. So, what were the biggest concerns at the start of 2020 in India, especially, of course, in other countries as well? For parents, kids pass होंगे, अगली class में जाएंगे. They had all those things in their mind because usually it is the time of the final year exams. For businessmen, it is the closing of the final year of their say financial year. For banks, also similar ways. Everything who works in a business protocol has his year ending on 31st March. So many things are lined up close to 31st March, and even I have a very busy schedule. Uh, Otherwise, not if clinic wise. In those days, because those are the days actually we realign our system so that everything record keeping wise begins in a fresh mode from 1st April. Not many are aware that, and they still do the record keeping and the other systems in the calendar year format, whereas it is actually supposed to be done in the financial year format. So that is where actually the year begins. So, but the COVID-19 changed it for everyone. The exams were cancelled, graduations were accelerated, the career start date a little bit fast forwarded for everyone involved, be it a medical student, dental student, or kids going to school. It actually say made a difference to everyone. So I hope I'm audible. I got a message that somebody is not getting the audio. Am I audible? And just type in the chat box if it is. I hope it is audible to all of you. Anyone can please chat. Okay. No. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. So so everything actually say came to a standstill. The resorts closed, the marriages postponed, travel interrupted. Many of people have say short vacation in the March month. Some people go to the religious sojourn. So everybody had plans. Some people actually say booked for the June holidays. So everything actually just stopped. And we all know what impact it has done. And till date, it continues to do so as Europe suffers under the second wave drastically. So we need to understand. And whatever it was till the coronavirus properly originated, the WHO still had a reputation. I'm not really sure about the same right now, but yes, it defined COVID-19 as the defining global health crisis. And for hospital providers, this was particularly true. So, as the first case is reported, we actually knew that nothing was clear to say the time scientists all over the world, and I dare I say that even many things are not clear even till date. Almost say close to 9 months or 10 months of its breakdown in the rest of the world. Yeah, when it started in say mid of Feb all over the world, other than China, of course. So healthcare, we as healthcare providers, we were at the mercy of the news channels who used to provide an update every day. And we all know so many things reported in April and May actually don't hold any value today. So many things have changed. The mode of transmission, its effect, its spread, many things are changed, and still it is not clear to many. So the only thing the hospital sector could do was to adapt. And जैसे बोलते हैं ना, ये कैसी विकेट है कैसा खेलेगी, nobody knew it. Like if I speak in the cricketing language, uh, is the ball going to turn or is the ball going to say seam? Nobody knew. So you had to adapt accordingly based on your skills. But yes, unfortunately, even the best of the healthcare facilities were found wanting. Nothing wrong in it, nothing to be ashamed of. But yes, this was a disease which no one, this was an enemy, rather, I will say. Nobody knew what it was actually. And for the dental, it was first of all categorized as a non essential service. So the dentists were also locked down. Dentists were also closed. And trust me, a few colleagues, a few of course, still continue to be closed, even in my town. So there were a lot of questions. What are the care protocols, the patient needs? What is going to be the future clinic, hospital, or the operatory or the surgery layout, and how to prepare for the next unexpected? At this point of time, I would want to mention I had written an article in April on the, say, raise in the treatment charges, and at that point of time, I'd mentioned about the study done by by a Russian scientist, Peter Danzak. He mentioned that there are 5,000 coronavirus strains which are waiting to be discovered in bats. And we are talking about a different strain in the second wave in UK. Just now, last week only, it was reported. Just last Monday only, when the stock market in India crashed 1400, 1500 points. So there are so many strains which are still there to be discovered. And the worst may not be yet over. The life may not, although we have gotten used to it, it may not be very much normal for many of us. So what are the lessons? Let's come to the point. What are the lessons? Firstly, the medical or the dental, what exactly are they for all of us? Let's see the lessons learned. First, the medical point of view, of course. So the clinics need a inbuilt flexibility. They should have, say, treatment protocols or models which can go beyond or be shrunk according to the standard model. How the isolation can be maintained, and again, the supplies, especially the pertaining to sterilization, they need to be stockpiled more on the hospital sector and than the required for the average number of hospitals. We all know the whole world is still facing the shortage of gloves. They're coming from China, they're coming from Malaysia. Nitrile gloves are hard to find, latex still available, but all of them are available at double the cost. We all know. So the hospital sector needs to actually stockpile most of them, or what they have been doing earlier, because this might be a necessity in coming time, because the danger is still not over. Then the major system which uh, the hospital sector or the clinical sector in the hospital or the healthcare industry has to follow the in situ stimulation. It is kind of a, say, disaster management protocol which is done to simulate the real life situations, or the kind of a drill which is done to actually, say, carry forward. So what it does, it actually improves your teamwork, communication skills, and your safety outcomes. How you can manage the patient in a better manner. And this is not only true for hospitals. This is true for our clinics as well. Of course, I'll come to the dental points after this. But what I mean to say is that this kind of protocols have to be part of it, and people would actually found wanting in the, especially the healthcare industry. So a few examples can be how you react accurately or, say, quickly when you face situations pertaining to patient critical care, and then how you will react in your actual clinic environment when you actually face the same situation. So you can have unanticipated issues, like if the defibrillator battery is dead, or the crash cart accessible and fully stocked where the medicines are stored, or the monitor visible to those who need to see it. What if the chest tube is not where it is supposed to be, or not intubated properly? Let's come to the similar version of a dentistry. If we have to manage in a normal scenario, not in a COVID scenario, a kind of protocol, or, say, in situ stimulation is not only for disasters or pandemics, it is for a routine situation as well. So for dentistry, what it can be, what do you do when the implant just falls down from your hand just before insertion? You can't pick it up, say, wipe off the dust with the syringe and insert it, or dip it in Savlon or dip it in betadine and insert it. It is not to be done. And what do you do if the suction stops working during a surgery? What is your backup plan? What do you do if the aerator cartridge gives way in the middle of a lengthy crown prep? Of course, you will have substitutes for everything. But what I mean to tell you via this is that in situ stimulation is not only for hospitals, it is to be for clinics as well. You always need to have a backup plan. Plan A, plan B, plan C. That is the way management works. The management scenario works. And that is the way I also suggest. Each situation is unique. All these situations might be different. Somebody might be having a different set of protocols or practice. But how do you react to a situation? How you do not panic in front of the situation if you don't have a backup? And that all goes to how planned you are, how, say, organized you are in your practice. So we all have a few lessons to be learned from the pandemic. So what is the key in situ stimulation? Debriefing. You actually, say, debrief everything to your staff, to your team, and it actually, say, helps them review the problem just like you would review before that. And yes, in bigger clinics where there is a multifaceted approach followed, or there are large teams there, you need to actually put staff also in those situations where they can actually visualize situation like you and be better prepared. Sometimes we might be too busy in the ongoings of the clinic that we might not be actually able to pay attention to small details on the micro side, but they might be because they have only a limited work to do if assigned otherwise. So you have to make sure that you debrief everything to your staff. So it actually improves your understanding, your relations with the staff, your say working protocols. So this is the way you can be impactful to your patients as well. And when they say you're working in unison with each other, and when this training is conducted on a short notice, a pre-programmed simulation scenarios can help, of course. It is not only true for the bigger clinics, it is true for the smaller clinics as well. So what exactly practice management is all about: communication skills and rapport building, emotional support, and increased patient trust. All of these are actually vital components of patient satisfaction. We always talk about, say, patient satisfaction. What are the proxy indicators? These are the proxy indicators. How do we actually say gauge the patient response, whether he or she has been happy from our treatment or not? But would that happen as before? Because the communication skills will have to be now changed. Why? The patients will rarely see our face now. They'll see you in the mask. They'll see you in the face shield. They'll see you in the protective gear. So you'll need to learn with to smile with your eyes now. New ways of communication also need to be adopted. Again, I'm talking about the medical scenario, but this is a way, a part of it would be applicable in dental scenario as well. We are not supposed to be working and behaving in the similar old manner as we have been doing. I hope you are not getting sleepy. Of course, this is not still the time. But yes, let me come to the main topic now. What are the exclusive takeaways from or the lessons learned from COVID-19 for our dentistry sojourn? What are the, say, take home messages for us? So I always say, because we could not change the things, the only thing is it was an unknown situation for all of us. So go through the situation, bear it strongly, and then look back what lessons you could learn. Because we all will be in situations in life where we can't actually plan things. But when we can't plan things, that is the time which actually tests our moral strength and moral character. And these things will happen. Life will never go on as planned as we want. So that is the reason we say there will be many unplanned things coming in your life. So you at least plan for those things where you can. If you go about in an unplanned manner everywhere every time, you'll end up nowhere but say failure. So if these situations turn out teach us something, we have the potential to create these negative into positive. We all have learned, we all have grown from it, and we can further do so and continue to do so as COVID-19 continues to give us challenges in life. And God forbid if any of these things happen again, if not of a similar magnitude, if of a different magnitude, you never know which way the vaccines will go. So we need to actually make sure that we are more prepared, we are more alert. Yes, for many colleagues who were actually following the stringent say protocols of sterilization, nothing much changed. For people like me who were actually working on appointment basis, nothing much changed. They were working on say communication with the patient protocols properly. Nothing much changed in the COVID situation as well. The patient used to call me up before coming. So these things, some of the things we need to adapt, some of the things we need to change, some of the things we need to structure, and some of the things we need to overturn. These are the four scenarios you all can have. So you need to decide that what exactly is your situation and which situation you fall in. Adapt, change, say structure, or say overturn. So lesson one from COVID for dentistry would be communication. This is a scenario actually I always believe that communication is the key for everyone. कुछ बात करोगे तो बात बनेगी, बोलते हैं ना, बात करने से ही बात बनती है, और बात करेंगे तो दूर तक जाएगी. All those idioms are very famous. But then if you don't communicate properly, if you're keeping things to yourself, you are actually letting people to suppose what you are thinking, and their supposition may not be always correct. You need to understand that very clearly. And unless you are vocal about what you want in your practice from your staff, from your patients, you need to speak. And of course, communication in itself is a say vast topic. Uh, I won't go into much details of this, but sometimes the communication skills are the only difference between a positive and a negative outcome. So let me give you an example in this. Many clinics, many dentists actually went into trauma kind of a situation. They said they were like कि कोरोना से सिर्फ हम ही मरेंगे और कोई नहीं मरेगा in March, April, May. Slowly, of course, the fear subsided. We got to know the reality. We got to know the modes of transmission available at that time, of course. And many of the dentists did not communicate with the patients. The reason, or what they were closing down, or when they were opening up, they were not rescheduling their patients. The biggest reason for this is 80 to 90% clinics in India are small to medium level clinics, single chair or twin chair practice. 80 to 90%. Yes, even till date. So, maximum 1 to 2 chairs, I mean to say. Beyond that, 10 to 20%. So, they were actually, and many of them, majority of them, dare I say that majority of them are not keeping record keeping. They just only have few numbers saved with the patients. First of all, there is a communication gap in there. They have numbers of the running patients. They don't maintain those records. Then there was a problem that some people are not taking a backup of their records. The clinics are closed. The software is in the clinic only. There is no backup. घर पे कुछ नहीं, clinic पे पड़ा, clinic खोलने की इजाजत नहीं है. Nobody actually stopped us from opening the clinic. We only ourselves counted ourselves in the non-essential service category ourselves. Doctor clinic नहीं खोला, dentist clinic नहीं खोलेगा. But there were a few daredevils who kept on open from 22nd March till date. Of course, they might count the other ones who didn't close as fools. But then nothing succeeds like success, as they say. Those who had failures, they'll blame others always. So many of the time, many of the patients actually lost their original dentist, and they could not actually get a communication from the say. बहुत डेंटिस्ट ने phones भी switch off कर दिए या phone उठाया ही नहीं patient. So there was actually then the communication failure happened with staff as well. I myself lost my staff members to COVID. So this is a problem, not because of communication from my side, but from their side. But then many dentists opened their doors to with pure no members left, and they opened up in May end or June because of the lack of communication. There was no clear-cut plan when they planned to open, and many of them opened because they had no financial backup. They said, "घर बैठे रहेंगे तो भूखे मर जाएंगे." That is why they are opening. They didn't open because the COVID threat didn't seem much to them at that time. Some of them opened up armed with all the gadgets available at that point of time, prescribed by the say safety experts. Uh, of course, no disrespect to any of them, but what was say prescribed to them. Sorry, I had a power failure, but don't worry, I'll continue. So many dentists did have this problem as well. Then there were the teams which stayed connected during this time, and they actually created a stronger say team upon their return, because they could actually work their way in the practice the way they wanted. So lesson number two, because of that, is leadership. And I always say leadership is not a title, it is an example. And how strong you are, your team will actually say decide that. A leader or a captain, as they say for a cricket lingo, if we talk, a captain or a leader is as good as his team. So if the team is good, so our backup is there, don't worry. So if the leader and the captain is as good as his team, and the vice versa is true, we are surely better equipped to prepare or say or handle our patients in a better mode. So this is the way we need to understand that many a times, many of our staff members become our man Friday or woman Friday, no gender bias here, but just to explain this thing in a way that the staff members actually they know much more than about the patients than us, and that is a good thing for the practice to grow. So leaders, if I have to simplify in one line, they are the people who step up, take responsibility, jump in where needed, and lead by example. They always say captain's knock and say leader's abilities. The leader has to be from the front always. So 2020 ने बोलते ना, it actually stripped us naked, not to be rude in any language in that sense, but it actually highlighted जो सही था गलत था वो black and white हो गई दुनिया. We were actually having a colorful world all over, but COVID made sure that those who were black, those who were white, they were actually differentiated. There were no 50 or 500 shades of gray. We all know that. So there were many employees who actually went the extra mile and they kept a positive attitude, even in dentistry or medical, say, field. And they could actually, those are the ones who are having the potential of being future leaders. Again, they may not have a title, but their leadership skills are good enough to prove that when times were tough, they actually proved themselves. So if you may not be falling in that category, maybe you are having a small practice, single chair practice or a twin chair practice or a one staff member or a two staff member. If you had problems in those areas of leadership, especially, take this time or take this incident or an event to actually say, as a learning experience, to learn and improve for where you faltered. My mom always says, the mirror tells you all. शीशे के सामने देखोगे दुनिया को झूठ बोल लो, शीशा आपको झूठ नहीं बोलेगा, कभी भी नहीं बोलेगा. You know inside what you're capable of and what you where you have been faltering. So you need to answer yourself before you answer the world. So if you expected to step up in the way you have hoped for and you didn't do it, never mind, there is always a next time. अपने आप को डांटने से कुछ नहीं होगा, अपने आप को धिक्कारने से कुछ नहीं होगा. The only thing is be strong mentally. Just explain, yes, you have faltered. Admission of mistake is the first step to grow. Unless you admit, you can't grow because you're stubborn to yourself. नहीं मैंने तो ये ठीक किया था, दुनिया गलत थी. What are we trying to explain to anyone? No one. No one will listen to us. No one will actually give us even a second chance. Sometimes in life, we need to understand that. We need to be very, say, meticulous in that regard. And again, leadership is all about knowing yourself. If you don't know yourself, you are not going to grow. So then, lesson number 3 was technology. Many people actually disconnected from the team members. मैंने बोला ना, फोन बंद कर दिया, क्लिनिक बंद, सॉफ्टवेयर क्लिनिक में पड़ा है तो कांटेक्ट भी नहीं है पेशेंट के साथ. डिडंट यूज एनी वे. व्हाट्सएप हमने पेशेंट को करना नहीं है, पेशेंट को अपना नंबर देना नहीं है, बिकॉज मेनी पीपल स्टिल बिलीव दैट पेशेंट को क्लिनिक का नंबर जाएगा, अपना नंबर नहीं देना, पेशेंट रात को तंग करेंगे. That is the excuse I don't buy for small clinics, small to medium clinics. They're the direct contact. Yes, it may be true for bigger clinics where there is a multifaceted approach. There are a huge number of patients. Even then, they usually have a clinic number separately. But then it does not mean you stop off all the communication. People actually don't want to message their clients or patients, of course, on WhatsApp or any other thing. There is nothing wrong in it. You can use all the modes of communication. This is a free world. The only thing is you need to take prior permission for them from them. And of course, don't bombard them with information what they don't want or whatever, say, marketing you are doing. Don't bombard them with that. But in spite of that, you can actually make as a communication medium, I would say WhatsApp is the most abused communication. Ask yourself how many of you must be watching this. How many of you have, say, more than 500 unread messages in your groups? More than 500. So many of you might be having. I rarely don't have even a single message unread because I don't keep myself in useless groups. There, or maybe the groups may be useful but not useful to me, so I leave those groups. I've kept a very limited number. I have already a huge number of groups which I'm managing myself, of course, in a different way, which you all know by now. But then, if the communication is not reached properly, has not reached properly, what is the use of such communication? We actually say, मैं urgent message सिर्फ पढ़ता हूँ. How do you recognize which one is urgent and which one is not unless you go through it? You just go by the name. किसी ने personal message भेजा तो वो urgent होगा. Group में आया तो वो urgent नहीं होगा. How can you say that? But if you are not using communication properly, technology properly, you're actually misusing it, I will say. As I say always, it is the most abused communication, the WhatsApp. It all started with SMS, then emails. Now the WhatsApp, God knows what is in store for all of us in future. Then, sorry, as I said, people have had this excuse. Patient का number clinic में पड़ा और clinic बंद है. Records are in clinic, clinics are closed. There are so many software platforms available, backup options available, online options available. If you have the softwares of that kind, uh, Many people who use software, they usually use online software, irrespective of, again, the data safety protocols. We don't not talking about that over here. But if you're not staying connected, if you're not staying connected, not staying in touch with your patients, you're actually harming yourself and your clinic. So this year has actually told you to embrace technology. Then another part which I didn't mention in over here, the technology which needed to be brought into practice, whether it was say evidence-based UV lights or HEPA filters or a similar technology or extraoral suctions. Of course, those things many people didn't change even a thing. So you actually need to embrace the evidence as well, what needs to be done in clinic in that aspect. Then a big disappointment, dentistry was categorized as non-essential services. We ourselves made a choice, made our clinics as closed. कि dentist urgent काम में नहीं आते हैं. Ask anyone who's ever had tooth pain in his life. He might be a big businessman like Ambani or anyone. If he had a tooth pain, for him, the only essential service is getting rid of that pain. We all know that. But then we categorized our, say, ourselves as non-essential and closed down. But this is a future lesson to be learned for all of us, and especially the associations, the the councils, and the subsidiary associations of different specialties. We are essential services along with medical science. If medical science clinics were open, the dental clinics needed to be open as well. Of course, with precautions. Of course, with the coming evidence at that time. Then restrictions require corresponding support. Lesson number 5. Social distancing and other infection control measures did have an impact, and many of people were actually short of the equipment. People bought PPE kits on ransom, literally. They bought it for 800, 900 rupees in the start. Said, I can't close my OPD, I'm buying over a kit. A group member messaged me, sir, I bought, say, PPE kits just in the first week of April, it was. I bought PPE kits for 700 rupees. I didn't like the material actually, but अब क्या करूँ? Cleaning बंद थोड़ा करना है. Sir, I bought 100 kits, straight away 70,000 hole in my pocket. Now, how are you going to recover it? Sir, patient से ही लूंगी. Sir, if the patient is just for a consultation, are you going to change? नहीं sir, एक में पूरी दिन चलाऊंगी. Initially, protocols were there. You have to change PPE kit after every patient. We didn't do it. Then the protocols came. The PPE kits are not necessary in dental surgeon. Then it keeps on changing. What is the final evidence? When the, say, COVID will settle down finally, we'll all get to know by then only. Till then, if it was very clear, the vaccine would have come much earlier. So we need to imbibe all these lessons. Lesson number 6: logical approach to vaccines needed. Since we categorize ourselves as non-essential services ourselves, then they say a rapid rollout of vaccine is there. Many vaccines have been given a license to, say, bypassing a few norms in different countries. In India also, tomorrow, in even in my town, tomorrow, 28th and 29th, a dry run would be there for COVID vaccines for around 20,000 healthcare professionals. So it is there in 4 or 5 states, Punjab, Assam, and I don't remember exactly. It was news today only in today's newspaper. So this is going to be game changer, of course, the COVID vaccine. Effective or not, against all strains or not, that the time will come, will tell. But it is not only India, but even in earlier, say, news in UK, then in Australia. Later it was added, of course, it was suggested that dentists won't be given a priority since they're not frontline health workers. Why? Why is this disparity? Again, this is a alarming thing. Then lesson number 7: infection control is important and supreme. This is a lesson we need to all do it. As I said, many of us were doing it already, but now all need to be doing it. If you're still not doing it, you're putting your life at risk. And it is not a disease which will affect only the senior citizens, only the, say, septuagenarians or the octogenarians. It is going to affect everyone. In the past 2 days in my town, we had two deaths of 39, 38, and then 29 and 28-year-olds due to COVID. So it is a disease which spares none. Yes, comorbidity is a factor, but age is definitely not. So infection, don't advertise your infection control measures as a marketing tool. It is an essential tool. It is a way to protect you. It is a way to protect your clinic. It is a way to protect your patients from spread. whatever way you can, in a better way than before. This is the thing you have to adopt. Then lesson number 8, very important, importance of triage. Taking a say telephonic history, consent forms, COVID consent forms separately. Say adding those, we all added COVID consent forms. We didn't realize that this was an opportunity. We talk of the SWOT analysis. It was an opportunity for us to actually add or say slip in the normal consent forms as well into our practice, along with say the normal COVID consent forms. As I said, majority single to twin chair clinics are not even indulging in record keeping. Recently took a record keeping workshop of 4 sessions where I took up this record keeping, history taking in detail, what needs to be added in those columns, what are the necessary columns, and then the consent part, and then the financial record columns, all those things which you need to start. Around 14 people attended that workshop. Just last week we had 14 to 20th. So then, lesson number 9, importance of working on appointment. How you actually space out. Social distancing is still to be followed. It is a norm which is actually practical and which is there to exist. To tell you, to not be proud of this thing, but this thing already exists in my practice since 2007 when I started appointment protocols. And trust me, my patients take an appointment before they come to practice. So there is a system. There is always a gap of 15 minutes between the patients. And this theory I have been purporting since 2016 when I first started, say, promoting taking practice management sessions on WhatsApp. It will all start with DentApp group. There, I always stressed upon the importance of keeping a gap between the patients. A few of you were there with me since the DentApp group, and you know it. It is almost 5 years now that I have been promoting this concept of working in long sittings, working with due diligence, taking due care. Maybe you have 5 patients in the day, but you're busy for your 8 hours or 7 hours. Who are you going to show your numbers? Who cares whether you have 10 patients in the day or 15 or 5 or 2? What matters if you were busy for the majority of your clinic time, 7 to 8 hours? That is the normal working time, maybe slightly beyond or less. But what matters at the end of the day is the money in your pocket. Nobody bothers. इनके clinic की waiting में patient नहीं देखे कभी. Doesn't make any difference. Psychological difference, not me as well. That walker who is going to walk from my clinic and just says, आपके patient में कभी clinic नहीं देखे, is not going to pay me. What my patients I have treated in the day, they are going to make a say my pocket bulgy or make a addition in my income, in my life. Then the last takeaway or the last lesson: private dentistry exists and exists in rocking form. Dentistry, dare I say, the best dentistry in India is provided by the private healthcare providers and not the government sector. And those private healthcare providers are all of us. So the government definitely needs to take this aspect into account rather than say giving our due share to the Ayurvedas. Of course, that was a wrong thing. Then if it is essential and important, we need to be given certain advantages in the form of tax swaps or any other say subsidies or whatever, if possible, if at all the there is a value for our profession. But yes, the whole life we actually struggle between the difference between the MBBS and the BDS, and even an MDS does not get the due respect from an MD. So these things will continue to happen, have been happening, and will continue to happen. It is not important that what others think of us. It is more important that what we think of ourselves. We are in a blessed profession which is supposed to create smiles, and we ought to respect ourselves in our profession. I see on a couple of groups like Memodontics or other, yes, sharing those things in a light-hearted manner is fine. But there is a line which doesn't need to be crossed. I see literally dentists crying and cribbing. If dentistry is so bad a profession, why don't you change it? Why are you still there? Why are you still clinging to it? So I hope I have not been preachy enough. So let me give you the last takeaways from this session and wind up this session, exactly 45 minutes or so. So this actually is the biggest, say, healthcare challenge or a life care challenge which the say world is facing, and we all need to understand that we actually could do nothing about it. The only thing we could do is to learn and move on. Tell me, I always give this example to people who don't want to move on from their past. अगर आप वो पिछली अपनी पास्ट हैपनिंग को एक छोटी सी आपने लिटिल फिंगर भी लगा के रखोगे ना, आई डोंट वांट टू लीव, आई जस्ट वांट टू कीप इन टच विद दैट पास्ट, the only distance you can move is as much as you can stretch yourself, and that can be maximum 6 feet, 7 feet, not beyond that. Of course, it will be less than that only, but that is the maximum limit you have to stretch. It is always best to leave your past. Yes, don't leave it as such. Always learn from it. The more you learn from it, the more you will understand the importance that actually what life is teaching us, what this pandemic has taught us. 2020, which was supposed to be the best year, uh, didn't turn out to be the exactly the way. I won't call it the worst year. I normally publish 30 to 35 articles in a year. Uh, I published more than 100. Of course, a few of them are to be coming up tomorrow and day after tomorrow. I published more than 100. I published 5 books with Lab. I took this is the 18th session. I'll be taking 2, 3 more sessions, and apart from them, I took around 40 sessions in the lockdown. So I have no regrets with that. I have grown in confidence. I've grown in say intellect. I've grown in knowledge. I've grown in practice aspect. Grown in the learning aspect. So why should I be calling? Because I always look at the positive side. I may not be the eternal optimist, but I'm not a pessimistic for sure. So we need to realize that it actually is a time which presents us an opportunity. कहते हैं ना, आपदा में भी अवसर देखें. Disaster presents an opportunity to all of us. Only if you are willing to learn and imbibe certain things in you. We need to actually understand and change our patient treatment approach. It has to be more patient centered in your practice. You are no longer the boss. Yes, you may be boss in your practice otherwise, but when it comes to patient, it is a shared responsibility or the patient choice. The patient autonomy is supreme, considering the medical legal negligence scenario. So, and more importantly, we need to know that we ought to develop a strategy for positive change. And what is that strategy? We need to redefine, rethink our role, and then we need to prepare ourselves. And the biggest thing we need to change is change our mindset and increase our resources, and need to activate the 3R principle in our clinic and our life. And what is that 3R principle as a take home note? Redefine, reconsider, and reflect. Redefine yourself, reconsider the options you have been doing in life, and reflect upon your past to move on by taking a lesson. So these are the challenges you actually say as clinician you have to demonstrate. You have to be more committed professionally. You have to be quick in treatment suggestions. You have to plan yourself, and your decision making skills have to be perfect or close to perfect, because otherwise say there is no other way you can hope to grow in life in that aspect. So I always say one of the positive aspects is that we have understood that what we stand as a community and a hospital sector, and even there was say disruption of life, disruption in practice, we still, our patients well-being is the primary thing for all of us. And without the essential and emergency dental treatments, uh, large of patients would still be deprived of appropriate help. We all know, we all need to understand that as well. So we need to understand the importance of this pandemic fully, the importance of appointment system, the importance of record keeping, consent, COVID consent, and of course the financial say record keeping as well, which are by law also needed. Yes, for clinic growth, it also presents us an opportunity to all of us, but by law also they both all of not both but all of these are needed. And in any ways, these are the vital pillars for any clinic. You need to understand why, how, and what they work, what way they work, because otherwise you will be left wanting in the race to stardom. So we need to understand that this also needs to be incorporated. This was incorporated, but the other consent forms also need to be incorporated, especially for those who are not doing it. So if we can't learn from this pandemic, we all know if it is an occurrence after a century or 100 years, no one of our generation, of course, will be alive. All of us, all of you who are watching, must be in the range of 25 to 45, or maybe a couple of you less or beyond that. But none of us will be alive after 100 years. There's still time to go if you want to learn. So I can only wish you all the best. So I hope you have takeaways from this. So the next session, I'm sorry, the time is mentioned wrong. It is at 9 p.m. today for the finance. It was supposed to be at 7, but then because of this session, it got postponed. Again, it'll be a crisp session of 45 to 60 minutes. A few finance and money lessons that COVID-19 taught us. Then I have 2 more sessions tomorrow and day after for my paid group. This is for the, say, free groups. This is for the paid group on practice management, and then 29th for, say, again on finance, then winding up for the year. So thank you so much. And this is, I'm just say unmuting you all for the query time. So this is my YouTube channel. So if you are not subscribed to it, you can watch videos. Yes, there has been a gap. I've just posted 3-4 videos after October 5, but yes, I'll be more regular because of health issue. I could not say do a few more things which I could have done in this past 2 months, but then I was never say in a situation to do what I wanted to. So if you forget the name of the channel, just go to YouTube and search Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja. Hit the bell icon, subscribe, and you'll get a lot of videos in 2021 for sure. So, and please do post your feedback to my number or in the WhatsApp group you are in. So bouquets and brickbats would be welcome in equal measure. So thank you so much, and I stop my share for question time. Anyone wants to ask any question, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself and ask any questions.
Hello, sir.
Ji.
Sir, Dr. Ravindra here.
Ji.
So how should we convey the charges, the increased charges to the patient, as every patient is saying, "Hum to lut gaye COVID mein."
The only thing is, you need to understand that what actually is visible to the patient is going to pay for that also. I'm not saying you to market your, say, sterilization protocols, but those should be at least to your old patients, the change should be visible. There are so many banks coming up with offers. Recently, last week only, SDFC launched say scheme wherein you can enroll as a merchant and you'll get your payment within 24 hours, and the dentist or the patient will get a EMI scheme from the bank itself. So many banks are coming up with that kind of scheme. So you can always give them an option. Bajaj already has such scheme. Now SDFC has jumped in. More banks will follow suit for sure.
Right. Thank you, sir.
But to tell you a very frank thing, yes, it has disrupted everyone's life, but the GST collection of the past quarter was the highest ever, 1 lakh crore. तो अगर कुछ बिका है तभी कुछ कलेक्शन हुआ है ना, तो अगर बिका तो पैसे हैं तभी बिका है. So that is the only.
Everybody is doing online shopping without any problem.
Whatever it is, they have the money. That is the reason they have bought the GST collection highest ever since it was launched in the last quarter. 1 lakh crore, not a small amount. And GST just a portion. 5, 12, 18, 28. 28 वाले को छोड़ दो आप. 5, 12, 18. Multiply by 6 or 7 or 8 times. That is the amount of business we have done in the last quarter. Of course, Diwali was there. People always say Mandi Diwali hai, ye kuch hai, but then all those things you need to understand. Yes, be compassionate where the patient can't, the patient is not well off, the history, you can of course say go in with some amount of empathy and drop whatever charges you can, but not otherwise. The only thing is I always would say don't decrease your charges just for the same. And the only reason, only way out to this is convey your charges beforehand. The patient will make a decision there and then only whether he wants to do it or not, whether it falls it in his budget or not. The only thing is when the patient says such a thing, we drop our charges. We drop our charges to even a even lower than the pre-COVID level. And we ought to understand that COVID has actually increased our, say, maintenance charges, if I may, in sterilization point of view, if I am speaking, it has done that as well. So you need to understand those parts.
The problem is that if there is everywhere, every nook and corner, a dentist is present who can do it at a cheaper rate.
that is their problem. There are people available with a taxi case also near the bus stand everywhere. So they can get it done from there also. You'll always have a choice. There is a tea available at roadside at 10 rupees also, and there is a tea available for 200 rupees also in a 5-star. But there is a middle road as well. So again, as I say, we are no longer the boss in that matter. The patient has the final choice what they want to do. But frankly speaking, nobody actually say compromises with their health. If anybody would to search, they will search for the best endodontist or the best root canal specialist or the best say dentist. They will never search for the cheapest dentist. You need to understand that.
Right.
Any more queries? I forgot to hit the record button on Zoom today. Never mind. Still have it on Facebook. Okay, if you have no queries, then we split up today's session. Please do post your feedback and see you at 9 p.m. Those of you who want to attend the finance session. Exactly 1 hour from now, login will begin at say 8:45 p.m. Thank you so much and have a good day, whatever it is left.